Hey guys, I am live on YouTube and Twitter. And I wanted to try something new on the live stream today. I wanted to get some help from you guys, anyone who joins the live stream, anyone who jumps into chat on YouTube. Help me understand XRP. I mean, believe it or not, even though I've been in crypto in a big way for 10 years, I own fiatleak.com, I built bitcoinwallet.com, I created my own cryptocurrency, Milix. I don't understand, I've never taken the time to look at XRP at a fundamental level. Now, that's nothing bad to say about XRP because I haven't looked at a lot of things at a fundamental level. I tend to operate with my blinders on. I don't look left, I don't look right. I decide to do something and then I just go straight ahead. So I don't worry about what other people are building. But today I want to do a little dive into XRP and see what it's all about. And I'll start that in a minute. I'm just doing a little housekeeping here to start for the stream. Okay, so on my screen, I've got my camera, I've got my name, where you can find me, price.tangle.com. And then below that, there is a chat box. Now let me make sure that that is working because that is where, if you send a message in YouTube, I want it to show up there. I'm going to send a chat message to Danny, who's in the chat. There, it showed up. Okay, so to start things out, I am looking at fiatleak.com/XRP. 60 cents, down 2% today. It's probably right in the middle of the market. It's not on the top, it's not on the bottom. Everything's kind of going down today, it seems, and possibly being led down by Bitcoin. Now when I am not going to worry when I try to figure out what XRP is. I don't care about scandals. I don't care about rumors. I don't care about regulators, legal proceedings. I don't care about corporate structure. I just want to know how it works. So let me start out by asking, I'm going to ask Luna AI on Tangle.com. What is XRP? Okay, so Luna AI is the chat bot that we built on Tangle.com. And I asked, what is XRP? And the short answer is XRP is a cryptocurrency used to transfer money quickly and securely across borders. It's the native currency of the Ripple network and is one of the most popular cryptocurrencies in the world. XRP is also used as a store of value and is a highly liquid asset. Okay, so it's a cryptocurrency. I knew that. You can transact across borders. That's every cryptocurrency. It's the native currency of the Ripple network. So there's a distinction between XRP and the Ripple network, it seems. One of the most popular, that's kind of subjective, and it's highly liquid. That's a trading attribute. So I'm not too interested in that. Okay, so let's Let's look at the Wikipedia page. Now, before I jump into this, and I might do this for more than just XRP. This might be a type of series of videos that I do. I want to learn about whatever. When it comes to crypto, I know a lot about it. Technically, I know a lot about it. I know a lot about Bitcoin, and I know a lot about Milix. But the one thing that I don't know about in general is the cryptographic part. I've always just considered that to be a black box. And in the case of Milix, that's just something that Erickson, who is a PhD, he just handled that. That wasn't even a discussion for us to have. He just took care of that. So same thing with Bitcoin. When I built Bitcoin Wallet, I had to understand the blockchain. I had to understand transaction structures, the mempool, all of those things. But I never learned about the cryptographic part. And the cryptographic part, I think, in large part, can be swapped in and out of the currency as cryptography advances. So that's just a note as I jump into cryptocurrencies here. Okay, so there is an XRP page on Wikipedia, but not a good one. It wants to redirect to Ripple payment protocol. Lil Hooligan is in the chat. And Seattle John is in the chat. He says school is in session. Yeah, school is in session, but not for you. It's school's in session for me. And I'm not good at school. We're going to do our best. Okay, Ripple payment protocol. Now I think so. Here's something I do know about XRP, and I know this because I own Fiat League. There seems to be a polarization between XRP fans and the rest of cryptocurrency. It's almost like you're either you have to pick, it seems, or at least it used to be that way. I don't know if it's like that anymore, and it looks like there's a distinction between Ripple and XRP, and I seem to remember that people in the XRP camp make it a point to clearly distinguish between Ripple and XRP. So this says that Ripple is a settlement system, a currency exchange, and a remittance network that was created by Ripple Labs, a US-based company. Ripple is built on a distributed open source protocol that, like most cryptocurrencies, if not all, it supports tokens representing fiat, crypto, commodities, or other units, such as frequent flyer miles or mobile minutes. Secure, instant, nearly free transactions of any size with no chargebacks. It's interesting that they say, I mean, I guess you have to consider who the audience is here. I think that the audience here is probably businesses, banks, because mentioning no chargebacks that's generally a feature, if not a rule, of all crypto. Okay, the ledger employs the native cryptocurrency known as XRP. Okay, so there's the first mention of XRP. Ripple relies on a common shared ledger, which is distributed. It's a database that stores information about all Ripple accounts. Now, when they say Ripple accounts, did they mean addresses, wallets? The network is managed by independent servers which compare transaction records, and those servers could, in theory, belong to anyone. Ripple validates accounts and balances. It must be Ripple the network, not Ripple the company. Payment notifications within a few seconds. Payments are irreversible. There's no chargeback. Seattle John says, Price, do you see XRP as somewhat of a competitor with Millix? They're both settlement devices. I don't know yet. I think that what I'm going to look at, it looks like Wikipedia is not going to be the only source of information here for me today. So I'm going to have to go look elsewhere. But for the question, will I consider it a competitor to Millix? I think that'll come down to how centralized or decentralized Ripple or XRP is. Okay. Litigation, I don't care about. I think that's it. That's it for Wikipedia. So not a good Wikipedia page. That's not good. Okay. So I'm going to do a Google search. What is XRP? So producer Danny just sent me a note that there are a lot more people watching this on Twitter than on YouTube. But I don't think I have an easy way to see chat from Twitter. So if you catch me saying something wrong, or you want to direct me in some way to find good information to learn what XRP is, which is my goal today, then jump over into chat on YouTube. And I'm broadcasting this on my Price Givens channel. So just do a search for Price Givens. Okay, what is XRP by Investopedia? Now, before I even click on that, I'm entering into this page with a bias that Investopedia is probably not centered on the crypto market so much as just the finance market, but let's give it a try. XRP is a cryptocurrency and token that Ripple Labs uses to facilitate transactions on its network. XRP primarily enhances global finance transfers and the exchange of several currencies. Okay. Let's see if there's anything interesting in the history. Now, I've seen the word remittance used in relation with XRP before, and I'm not sure if that word remittance is used any differently than it would be for every other cryptocurrency. Same with payment settlement. I don't know about exchange. That's a particular word. I'm not sure about the exchange part. Maybe I'll learn about that as we go here. So in 2011, McCaleb, Schwartz, and Brito started the XRP ledger as a recourse to the inherent limitations of Bitcoin. I would guess that those limitations would be speed and scale. Okay, Investopedia says XRP is an open source digital asset that is independent of Ripple, which is a technology company. And Ripple uses XRP as a solution for their customers. So Ripple has customers. XRP operates on a decentralized open source blockchain known as the XRP ledger, XRPL. And transactions are facilitated by the Ripple Transaction Protocol, RTXP. Unlike most cryptocurrencies, XRP is pre-mined with a supply of 100 billion. Now, maybe I'll see somewhere if there are decimals on XRP. Before I continue, let me just stop on the pre-mine. Pre-mining, that term was used in a derogatory way at some point in my career in cryptocurrency. I don't know exactly when it started, when it peaked, and when it faded. I think it might have been with the ICO wave, which would have been around 2017. Now, I don't consider. I think that there are nuances to pre-mined, to the phrase pre-mined. First of all, it implies that there is mining on XRP, and I guess I'll get to that hopefully as I go through this. But I consider how do I say this? I had to approach this concept of pre-mining because when I founded Millix, when the Genesis event happened, which was January 2020, all the units of Millix that would ever existed as a result of the Genesis transaction. And you couldn't have said it was pre-mined because Millix doesn't have mining. And I think that if you look at kind of the king, Bitcoin, which is what I use to compare this phrase pre-mining to, so there's a cap on Bitcoin of 21 million Bitcoin. And all those 21 million, in my mind, exist at the protocol level, regardless of whether they've been issued to a miner as a reward. So the protocol has access to 21 million units on Bitcoin, and it releases those units to addresses as blocks are solved. So all of the supply exists in the protocol from day one. It just hasn't been distributed until until the protocol decides that it should have all been distributed. So I'm going to keep that in mind when I read through this as it pertains to XRP. So 100 billion units. Okay. I don't really care about the circulation. That's not a technical thing. That's an economic thing. Peer-to-peer trust network. Okay, they make a comparison there to other cryptos, but not specific comparisons, so I'm going to skip that. Price volatility, I don't care. Okay, so here's a comparison between XRP and Bitcoin. Consensus mechanism. XRP uses a unique consensus mechanism that relies on trusted validators or a unique node list that decides what transaction to consider for the next ledger. Okay, when I see trusted and validator, I think centralized. I don't know how you become a trusted validator, and I don't know how using validators scales. When you've got validators, you've got a hierarchy of participants on the network, and hierarchies lead to centralization, and so that's something for me to keep in mind here. For transactions to become valid, most trusted validators need to agree. Bitcoin uses miners to solve complex math problems using proof of work. Okay. XRP's consensus mechanism allows it to authenticate fast and cheap with less energy. That I have no problem believing that. That's a feature of validators. Okay, scalability. The XRP ledger is scalable and can handle up to 1,500 transactions per second. Now, I don't know if this article, as I mentioned, I don't consider Investopedia to be a technical source. I don't expect that they would keep up to date if that TPS changed or increased over time. 1,500 transactions per second in the scale of things is not a lot, and maybe that's why XRP has been described as a settlement currency. If for a settlement currency doesn't need to have a high TPS. Okay, how secure is it? Validators update their ledgers every 3 to 5 seconds as new transactions come in to ensure they match the other ledgers. Okay, that statement right there, that is the description of known state of the network. And this is a problem that we had to figure out on Millix. And we figured it out without a blockchain and without validators. And it works. And it has worked for years at very large scale, both in terms of transactions per second and total number of transactions on the network. So the problem with validators updating their ledger every 3 to 5 seconds or on any schedule and matching the other validators, that's the reason why centralized validators or using a hierarchy of participants, in this case validators, can cause a scale issue. Because you want to, as you need to have more transactions per second, the first thought is to add more validators to scale. In our experience, the reality of doing that is that since these validators have to stay in sync with each other, they have to replicate or merge or whatever the mechanism is that they come to an agreement on, every validator having the same view of the network. Scaling up with more validators causes a scale problem with keeping them all in sync. So that can cause a ceiling on the transactions per second. This says, as a result, the network can validate transactions more securely than other cryptocurrencies. That's a bold statement. That's a bold statement. I would put an asterisk on that one. Okay, let's see what else Google has for us. I'm not going to go to Forbes. I don't expect they're going to tell me anything that I don't know. Well, here is xrpl.org. That could be a good source. What is cryptocurrency? I'm pretty good on that. So this diagram here, this is showing this seems to be showing a blockchain. Is it? That could also be showing how transactions are validated using inputs and inspecting the history of the inputs to transactions to make sure that there aren't any double spends. Okay, so xrpl.org says a cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual currency that is secured by cryptography and tracked using a blockchain. So XRPL doesn't consider something to be a cryptocurrency unless it's based on a blockchain. It also defines cryptocurrencies as fast to transfer at low cost. That's subjective, and that's certainly not true of all cryptocurrencies. Programmable, yeah. Digitally native, yes. Meaning they are built for the internet. But yeah, that's mostly true. But you know, cold storage and paper wallets, you can transact. You need the network to be available to transact, but you can transact without the internet. Seattle John says, what's the difference between tangled nodes and validators? Are they formed by automated validation? There's no hierarchy on Millix, and every node on the Millix network acts with equal permission and equal capability. And when you submit a transaction to the Millix network, the recipient, so you can either run a full node, which means that you are storing every transaction that you are presented with on the Millix network, or you can run not a full node, which means it's just storing transactions that are related to your address. And you have peers, and you can decide how many peers you have. And when you receive a transaction that is important to you, like a payment to your address, you ask the peers to help with validation of that transaction. And the peers that you're connected to form a consensus. And the peers are randomly selected, and they rotate on an interval. And so it's based on the law of large numbers. And the difference between, let's see, he says the Tangled. Okay, so Tangled is a browser. It's an internet browser, and it has a Millix node built into it. So if you're running the Tangled browser, like I am, I'm looking at this information using a Tangled browser. The browser is participating on the Millix network, and it has peers, and those peers are propagating transactions to my node, to my browser, and I'm helping the network validate transactions that do belong to me and that do not belong to me. So hopefully that answers Seattle John's question. And because there's no hierarchy, there's no centralization at all. There's no validators. The scale is not 1,500 transactions per second. It's we've tested it to 100,000 transactions per second, and unlike every other project we've looked at, the capacity in transactions per second increases as the number of participants increase. So there's no strain, there's no choke point or strain or load put on a relatively small number of validators. Let me keep going here. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if this is going to... Here it gets into XRP a little bit. Let's see if we can learn anything here. Now this is interesting. It says, and I don't know, xrpl.org. I don't know who maintains this website. I don't know if this is an official site. But it says at the time of its creation, there were 100 billion XRP. Does that imply that could change? Okay. I don't know if this is a great source. Okay, Octo in the chat says it's a fixed supply. And he also says that XRP Ledger has boosted throughput to 3,400 transactions per second. That's, yeah, that I'm not surprised to see that. Which I mentioned when I was going through Investopedia, and they said it was 1,500, and I thought, you know, that might be outdated. Let me go back to Google and see what else I can find. Let's go to theblock.co. I don't know this site. What is Ripple and how does it work? A beginner's guide to XRP. Let's see what that says. So this says that Ripple's goal was to provide cryptocurrency functions as a service to businesses. And XRP operates on a consensus mechanism based on the Federated Byzantine Agreement model. It does not require mining or staking or to validate or record transactions. It relies on trusted validator nodes, collectively known as the unique node list. It's not validating a transaction. Generally speaking, it's not a hard thing to do. Once. It's not a hard thing to do once. It's hard to do fast. It's hard to do fast, and once you've done it, once you've validated a transaction, the next problem becomes establishing a known state of the network so that the network agrees on whether a transaction is valid or not. And known state of the network is it's a bit of a propagation function. It's how first you have to have some assurance that you know a state, you know whether a transaction is valid or not. But then it becomes how fast can that truth be sent to all of the other participants, and that's a speed and scale concern. Okay, how does it work? It's an innovative approach to blockchain technology and financial services. So the Ripple network uses trusted validators rather than mining or staking. That's the same as Millix. And Millix runs on a DAG, not on a blockchain. And I really haven't seen. It's hard. So is XRP a blockchain? I mean, there's a statement here that says XRP represents an innovative approach to blockchain technology. Is it a blockchain? Validators come to a consensus on the order and validity of transactions. The order of transactions. The order of transactions is important when dealing with double spends. The order of the transaction doesn't prevent double spends. It doesn't help detect double spends. In my mind, the order of transactions just informs you when there is a double spend, which spend is the one that you're going to consider to be the spend and which one is the double spend. So there has to be a network clock, and Milix has a network clock as well. XRP serves as a liquidity provider in the Ripple network. It acts as an intermediary, allowing funds to be transferred quickly and efficiently. Okay, so if someone wants to send US dollars to a recipient in Japan who wants to receive yen, XRP bridges the currency to facilitate the transaction. Or to facilitate the exchange. Maybe that's why we've seen the word exchange used multiple times in relationship to Ripple. Not XRP, but Ripple. So XRP on the ledger can bridge, I guess I would say it can bridge other tokens. So XRP is a built-in bridge. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how you would represent a dollar or a Japanese yen on the Ripple network, considering exchange rate. Octo says XRP Ledger is a blockchain and it bridges fiat. I think it bridges more than fiat. I think, at least according to the Wikipedia page about Ripple, they mentioned frequent flyer miles as something that it bridges. Okay, so it's cheaper than banking. That's a pretty low bar still. Users must establish trust lines with gateways on the Ripple network to hold and transact XRP. Trust lines allow participants to exchange value within the network while maintaining the integrity of the system. Now, I don't know what that means. I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess that if you wanted to do the sample transaction that they mentioned above, so sending US dollars to a recipient in Japan that is received in yen, that somebody had to set up a trust line for dollars and somebody else had to set up a trust line for yen. And maybe that implies why Ripple wanted to recruit banks as customers. Okay, Ripple's network and the XRP ledger are considered more centralized compared to other cryptocurrencies due to Ripple providing a preferred list of validators. This centralization has been a point of controversy and debate within the crypto community. Now, I've seen glimpses of that debate, but I've never jumped into them. One of the Milix Foundation board members, Rick Birkenstock, is a longtime holder, supporter, and I would say expert about Ripple or XRP. And when somebody says to him that XRP or Ripple is centralized, he doesn't accept that argument. So it is a point of controversy and debate. I'm not sure. Maybe the debate is the degree to which it's centralized, but it does have centralization. If you have trusted validators. Trusted and validators are each factors of centralization. Okay. How to mine it, you don't. Litigation, don't care. The only thing about this, the litigation that I've paid attention to is whether or not XRP meets the definition of a security. And the US courts have decided that it does not meet the definition of a security. And that is good news for everybody. Okay, Octo. Now, I keep mentioning Octo is really helping out here. And Octo was on the Fiat Leak stream yesterday. And he is a legendary trader and knows about crypto. So I believe what he says. And he says that XRP can exchange many, or let me start that over. You can exchange many assets into XRP to allow them to be sent somewhere and then reconverted back. He uses the example of a phone conversation. So a phone converts audio into a signal, sends the signal, and then the other phone reconverts it back to audio. I still have to understand, and maybe trusted lines is how it handles exchange rates, but I don't have a good grasp on that yet. And in fact, I'm a little disappointed in the information that I'm finding here to explain it. Let me do a search on XRP Ledger. Let me see if that's gonna. So Octo says that the argument about XRP being decentralized involves half of XRP being owned by, I suppose, Ripple. That's, I guess some people could use that as an argument, but that's an economic argument, and I'm trying to learn about it at a technical level. And technically, so far, I would say that there are points of centralization. Now, if you're using XRP to send one thing and have it arrive as another thing, which is what I'm learning, that function seems to have been addressed by smart contracts on on blockchains like Ethereum. The most notable difference would be between the two would be the fee to interact with a smart contract on Ethereum and what seems to be a built-in native feature of the Ripple network. And it seems as if the Ripple network is achieving that low fee for that feature with these trusted lines. So I'm thinking that that maybe you could think of Ripple as an FX market, a foreign exchange market, where the definition of foreign exchange includes more than just fiat. It includes anything that can be represented by a trusted line, And in an FX market, I suppose that would be considered a trusted line equivalent would be considered a market maker, a market taker, a dealer, a broker. Probably those things. And those things operate in a very centralized way, probably a non-transparent way. And centralization, so say what you will about centralization, but when compared to decentralization, just in general, not specific to crypto, but centralized solutions are generally much faster than decentralized solutions. So you're taking, if I follow my thought, and I'm not wrong so far, and you guys can correct me in the chat, but if I follow my thought that the Ripple network is provides the same function as an FX market and all the main participants in an FX market, with the added benefit of extending beyond fiat, then it's an implementation of an FX market on a blockchain. And that, in theory, means that transactions cannot be blocked. And I have seen peer-to-peer mentioned in a description of either XRP or Ripple. So that's a good start. But when you have centralized validators, it introduces the potential of centralized blacklists, and that introduces the concept of governance or regulatory pressure on. It'd have to be on Ripple. If it's truly open source, then you wouldn't be able to enforce block lists of recipients or transaction types at the blockchain level. You'd enforce it at the validated level. Who gets the fee on a XRP or a Ripple transaction? Who gets the fee? Does that go to the validator? See, on the Milix network, since it has no validators, the fee goes to one of the nodes, one of the peers on the network that was involved in validating the transaction, and specifically, it goes to the node that was selected as a proxy to take the transaction from the sender. So the transaction goes from the sender to a proxy, which is randomly selected, and the proxy does an initial validation and then propagates the transaction out to the rest of the network. And they're the ones that gets the fee. So this is a graphic that compares XRP to Ripple. And my takeaway from this is that Ripple's a company, and some of the people that are involved in that company were also involved in building XRP, but they built XRP as an open source distributed protocol to fit the vision of what Ripple thought could be introduced into the marketplace as a solution for businesses. And and not doing that in a way that prevents anyone else from using XRP for their own purposes. So this says that you can use the XRP ledger to issue new tokens. Now, would that imply that a new token would be a new type of frequent flyer miles, a new type of fiat currency, a new anything that requires a trusted line? Okay, nodes or validators. Let's see what it says about that. They are the backbone of the XRP ledger. They maintain a copy of the entire blockchain and keep the network decentralized. That's an odd thing to say. Anyone can run a node, but it doesn't say that anyone can run a validator. Okay, so it's nodes keep the network decentralized. Well, I don't know if there's much point in nodes keeping the network decentralized if validators keep the transaction consensus centralized. Okay, so validators are a subset of nodes. That's a hierarchy. That is a different set of features for different participants. They have extra responsibilities. Validators participate in the consensus by examining transactions and agreeing on their validity. Validators are chosen carefully. I think that's probably the point of contention in whatever debate or controversy there is about whether or not XRP is centralized. Centralization is binary. You either are or you're not. And so like I said, perhaps the debate is related to the degree of centralization, not whether there's centralization. And I that's important. Okay, well, let's see. Let me not jump to a conclusion just yet. So, achieving transaction agreement. There are 4 steps: proposal phase, validation phase, consensus phase, and finalization. So if I relate this back to something that I understand well, which is Milix, their proposal phase is a sender providing a new transaction to a proxy, which is then broadcast to the network. The validation phase okay, validators receive the proposals and begin the process of validation. So another scale issue when you have validators is that it's difficult for a small number of computers or servers or nodes to have complete visibility to everything happening on the network. That's not easy. they have to maintain a lot of open connections, or there has to be like a vetting process where it goes from a potentially large pool of nodes down to a smaller number of nodes that the validators are connected to. Consensus is basically looking for double spends, and then finalization. Finalization, I think in this case is it's immutability. It's the point at which a transaction can no longer be changed, and in this case it's added to a block. Now on Millix, like I said, the proposal phase is the interaction between the sender and the proxy, and then the proxy and the rest of the network. Any peer on the Millix network can validate. Consensus is just a matter of how many nodes you have to hear. How many nodes have to state something before you agree that what they state is true? And finalization in the case of Millix is the hibernation feature. So after 10 minutes, regardless of what the state of a transaction is on Millix, after 10 minutes, the state will not change. That's how we established a known state of the network without a blockchain and without centralized validators. Okay, so they've got payment transactions, escrow transactions. Escrow transactions are generally a combination of a time lock and multi-sig. I think those are the main components of escrow. Trust lines are established to enable the issuance and transfer of assets. So if you set up a trust line, if you set up a trust line for dollars, is the trust based on the fact that you hold as many dollars as are required to satisfy transactions in dollars? Is that what the trust is? So XRPL has a built-in decentralized order book. That's interesting. That's real interesting. That's something I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at that later. I want to know how they're doing that. How they're running a decentralized exchange. So exchanges running a decentralized order book. That is a problem of known state of the network, but ideally at extreme low latency. And maybe they don't have extremely low latency on that order book. That's not a rule of an order book. It's just every order book that you're used to using on an exchange, that order book and the trade engine, they're happening in memory to be as fast as possible. And that's something I'm going to look at. Okay, what makes XRPL unique? In order to answer the question what makes it unique, you have to compare it to something. So it says that it can execute transactions quickly and cheaply with low energy. Well, it's quicker than Bitcoin. It's cheaper than Bitcoin, and it has lower energy than Bitcoin. But I don't think it's cheaper than Millix. I don't think that it can execute as many transactions per second as Millix, and the energy is either the same or Millix is less. So they should have mentioned what they're comparing this to. Large volumes of transactions. So we've learned that it is in the neighborhood of 3,000 to 5,000 transactions per second. That is a large volume, but it's large compared to most cryptocurrencies, but it's not large in terms of the broader financial world. It's not large compared to Visa. XRP can function efficiently as a bridge currency. So far, that is the only thing that I've seen that makes it unique on this list, and that is cool. The question is, how centralized are the mechanism to accomplish that bridge currency? It gets back to these trusted lines. Another thing that makes it unique is its use of tokens, which can represent currencies, assets, data, and other things. I think that that's true. It is unique. It's probably not unique relative to ERC20 or other smart contract enabled networks. But this feature that they're talking about, the use of tokens, when combined with the bridge currency and the speed and the fee and the scale, that combination I think is pretty unique. Okay, so let's say, let me just check the chat. So Bora Ergel. Now, first of all, Octo says price is correct. If that's true, if price is correct, it's just luck. Because this is my first time ever digging into XRP. So all of my assumptions are either lucky or wrong. And looks like I got lucky. Bora Ergel says there are over 120 validators. He says 128 validators online. Okay. So my question, my thought experiment would be, what would happen to the Ripple network if it went from 128 validators to 128 million validators? What would break? And the same question in reverse. What would happen if it went from 128 validators to 12 validators? I would assume that in either one of those extreme cases, the experience that people have engaging with the XRPL would be different than it is now. And I don't think in either case it would be better. And that is a litmus test for scalability. Okay, so help Price learn about XRP took 50 minutes. I'm not sure how much I learned. I certainly know more than I did before. I certainly could not win any debate with a seasoned XRP or XRPL or Ripple enthusiast. I couldn't do that. But I would probably at least understand the perspective of both sides of that debate in any case. All right. So there is Help Me Learn About XRP, streamed on YouTube and Twitter. And to all you people on Twitter, we are going to stream another live stream on Friday. Erickson, Octo, and I. We're going to look at the market and review the fantasy trader activity that we had, where everyone had $1 million fantasy portfolio on Monday, yesterday, and they designed their portfolio. And on Friday, we see whose portfolio gained the most or lost the least, and anoint a winner and give them 10 million Millix. We will do that at 1500 UTC on Friday. And I might talk to you again before then on Tangled. I might talk to you again on Twitter with another. I want to learn about some currency. I want to learn about. I want to learn about Polygon. I want to learn about Solana. I learned something interesting about Ethereum this week that surprised me, not in a positive way. Maybe I'll mention that in an upcoming video. And then we'll see where it goes from there. So next time you see me do one of these streams, jump in the chat. If you know something about the currency that I want to learn about, help me learn in the chat. And if you don't know anything about it, then join me on my journey to learn something. All right? I will talk to you guys later.